that they're walking and cutting through their skin. They're hunting down their prey through the bitter end. The ground that they're walking and cutting through their skin. They're hunting down their prey. Let the games begin. I woke up feeling like this gon' be my day. I got that poppin' fire every step I take. Living that wild life, not stopping out no way. Just seeing green lights won't never touch the brakes. Let me tell you something. 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 Right now, right now. Right now, right now. Right now, right now. Right now, right now. Got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. Got a real good feeling. This place is jumping off hard as it can get. No, we won't ever stop dancing on the edge. We like it dangerous, we like to see you spread. Turn up another notch, you ain't seen nothing yet. Let me tell you something, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, let me tell you something. Right now, right now. Got a real good feeling, real good feeling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Got a real good feeling, I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. Yeah, I got a real good feeling, I won't hit no ceiling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Got a real good feeling, I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. Got a real good feeling. Right now, right now. Right now, right now. Right now, right now.
Hello, 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 everybody. Parney Parnell from your favorite team. Sorry, Tim Restall, Mike Ramshaw, the Richmond Flying Squirrels. We're live here in Parney's Pub. This is live TV, so you never know what's going to happen. We're going to have a fun 90 minutes, folks. Thanks for joining us with Flying Squirrels Charities, our winter warm-up with San Francisco Giants manager Gabe Kapler. He's going to come up about 7 o'clock. Right now, we're going to have a little bit of few things we're going to do. Oh, there I am. I'm on the screen. A few things we're going to talk through. We're going to be joined by Lou DeBella, the managing partner of the Flying Squirrels. And then we're going to go through a few more things about Flying Squirrels Charities. Kyle Haynes is going to join us. And then at 7 o'clock, the man of the hour, Gabe Kapler. So 90 minutes. Nick, am I screaming too loud? Am I bothering you, Nick?
You're good.
Nick Elder is the producer. He's in the house. He's a Cincinnati Bengals fan, folks. They've never been to the World Series, or excuse me, the Super Bowl in his lifetime. Joe T is also the grip. He's to my left. And Hannah DeFrank is trying to sneak by into my office. Hannah, close that door too, please. Right over here. Live television. It's already happening. All right, so why are we here, everybody? We're welcoming everyone. Segra is our sponsor tonight. Thank you, Segra, for your partnership. Flying Squirrels Charities is near and dear to all of our hearts. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. Just a few things to put the house in order. Folks, April the 12th, home opener. I'll give you a little teaser since you joined us tonight. On Monday, we're going to make an announcement about opening night that will, I think, make all of you very, very happy. Hint, hint, especially people that were the Atlanta Braves fans back in the day. Not too far back in the day, but I think you'll enjoy it. Joe T, there's a police officer out there coming for you. I hear the siren right now. A few other things while we're waiting for Lou DeBella. Hopefully Lou will join us to say hello to all of y'all. But Flying Squirrels Charities, folks, it's something we've talked a lot about throughout the course of this past year, this pandemic year, 2020, 2021. 21 wasn't perfect, but we got through it. And we learned a lot about ourselves, learned a lot about each other. How about this, folks? This time last year, we still didn't have a schedule for the 2021 season. So right now we have 69 home games, 69 away games, 138 games, if my math is correct. And it is. You know why? Because I'm a product of the North Carolina public school system. We're 48th in the country, baby. And I also had a 3.7 GPA my first year of college. 1.9 the first semester, 1.8 the second semester. So, I think Hannah's trying to get Lou on the show right now. Yeah, okay. So let me go through Flying Squirrels Charities. We've changed a couple things about Flying Squirrels Charities. And Joe T, keep me on time here because I want to make sure that we have time to talk to Lou. Flying Squirrels Charities, we changed our mission statement. And Nick, are we okay with the sound? Can you hear it in the background okay? Our mission is to impact RVA by enhancing educational opportunities, pillar number one, providing athletic programming, bringing the fun into all we do. Flying Squirrels Charities will strive to strike out the social determinants that negatively influence our community while also fostering a place for inclusion. And here's the four pillars. Education, work to provide additional resources to enhance education throughout the community. One of the ways we've done this is through the All-Star Legacy Fund that we started in 2019. Hannah, that's in the background, was a coordinator for All-Star Week. She's still stressed out about it. And we plan to expand on the All-Star Legacy Fund in the future. Number two, athletic programming, the opportunity for all to participate in athletics. And we have a lot of plans, both short-term and long-term, to make sure that that happens here in the Richmond region. Social determinants, focus on ways to reduce food insecurities and positively impact families struggling with health, housing, employment, and more. Social determinants. Fourth, so education, athletic programming, social determinants, and inclusion is the fourth. Inclusion is the fourth. Finding ways to include everyone in what we do, regardless of how you identify yourself. Education, athletic programming, social determinants, and inclusion, the four pillars of Flying Squirrels Charities. Folks, we've traditionally done a hot stove banquet, which this is kind of replacing because of COVID. We've traditionally done a golf tournament with our friend Dennis Bickmeyer and his staff over at Richmond Raceway. We'll continue that. But look for us to do things throughout the course of the year, and I'll get to that in a little bit, including something later this month. Secondly, we're excited to be chosen as a captain of The Nine, a new Black community-focused outreach platform launched by Minor League Baseball, specifically designed to honor and celebrate the historic impact of numerous Black baseball pioneers made on the sport, provide new opportunities for youth baseball, remember that, and softball, remember that, participation, further diversify the business of baseball, really, really important to us here at the Flying Squirrels, and embrace millions of passionate fans throughout minor league baseball's 120 communities nationwide. Folks, the Flying Squirrels were selected as one of 5 captains, along with our sister team in Montgomery, Alabama, the Montgomery Biscuits, one of 5 captains out of the 120 teams. We're very, very, very proud of that. Events coming up tonight. We're going to have a fast-paced hour and a half. Now, how long, Joe T? Come on, Joe T. You got to be on.
Sammy right now.
He's texting my daughter, Sammy. Joe T, I need you to focus. You're my timer.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Oh, my goodness. Live television. So coming up February 23rd, We only have 16 opportunities for this. February 23rd, Flying Squirrels Charities Bowling Night at River City Roll, 6 p.m. We'll have the unveiling of our 2022 promotional schedule. Phipps, I thought we were going to talk about that. On February 23rd, 16 teams with 6 people, $500. That'll be a great fundraiser. Our friend Carney Bragg, Virginia State University's finest, is working on that. February 23rd, promotional schedule. Let me tell you something. I had to catch myself about 6 times today on the fan not to tell people what our promotional schedule was. That's how excited I am. Again, folks, this time last year, we had no schedule, let alone a promotional schedule. So there's a lot of great things that we have coming up. And Caroline Phipps and Creative Corner are doing an amazing job with our promotional calendar. March the 5th. Write this down. If you're at home or if you have your phone, write this down. March the 5th, Nutsy's Block Party. From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's to celebrate the first day of individual single game ticket sales. We'll have food, music, vendors. It's not just a day to buy tickets. It's a day to bring the whole family out and have 2-3 hours of great fun. May the 9th, I mentioned the Turn Left Golf Classic with Dennis Bickmeyer and Richmond Raceway. We'll do that in conjunction once again with our friends at the Dominion Energy Charities Golf Classic. Okay, name drop time. John Daly, I'm coming after you again. May the 9th, we're also going to have a Flying Squirrels during the season charity golf tournament at Hunting Hawk. It'll be a lot different than what we do with the Turn Left. Our players hopefully will be able to attend and participate with us. It'll be really, really fun. That's May the 9th. We have some other details, including a date that we'll have to get to a little bit later. But in June, dinner on the infield. Dinner on the infield. I'm just going to leave you with that and let you think about that. Our friends at Performance Food Group is going to be involved in that. And then this is really, really cool. Daniel Mumphrey, one of our new teammates here at the Flying Squirrels, has really taken the bull by the horns on this. In July, we're going to have the 804 Futures Classic. It's an inaugural high school baseball all-star game right here at the Diamond. And I know we have some high school coaches on here tonight. Tim Mary, Virginia Baseball Coaches Association, is on here tonight. Tim, you're going to be involved and help us with the selection process. And Daniel's going to be, if he hasn't already, get in touch with you. So those are the things. Again, February 23rd, Flying Squirrels Charities Bowling Night. Make sure you go online, sign up for that. I think after tonight, we're going to be live on that. And then March the 5th, Nutsy's Block Party on March the 5th. May the 9th, Flying Squirrels Charities Golf Tournament. And I don't know, I wish I had text Bick and see if we have a date for the, do we have a date for the Turn Left Golf Classic yet? Because if we do, I want to announce that as well. Because the Turn Left Golf Classic has become one of the premier, if not the premier, honestly, golf tournaments in the Richmond region, because you actually play the same course that Bernard Langer, John Daly, all the Champion Tour members play, Retief Goosen, they all play that course over at the Country Club of Virginia the day before on Sunday, and then we play it on Monday. And when I say we, I mean they, because I just put on 18 because I like all the cameras and all the seats and all that kind of stuff. In June, again, stay tuned for Dinner in the Infield. July, 804 Futures Classic, the inaugural high school baseball all-star game, and there's going to be more to come. Again, these are all events to benefit Flying Squirrels Charities. And let me remind you, education, athletic programming, social determinants, and inclusion are the 4 pillars of Flying Squirrels Charities. And there it is, the new logo that Hannah just put up on the screen. October 24th. That's Ray Parnell's birthday. My dad, Ray Parnell, who's watching in Locust, North Carolina, if they figured out the computer. It's his birthday, October 24th. So if you want to join us for the Turn Left Golf Classic, when Hannah and the Richmond Raceway send out the information, you need to bounce on that quick because that tournament sells out every single year. So as you can tell, we have an awful lot going on, folks, and we're really excited. We're so far ahead of where we were this time last year. I mean, so far ahead of where we are again this time last year. Again, April the 12th is the first game here at the Squirrels. Again, we're going to be announcing something on Monday that will have something to do with it. We do have group tickets available for all of our games, including opening night. So if you have a church group, a civic group, if you have just a group of friends that want to make sure they can come to opening day, make sure you call my friend Garrett Irwin, my teammate Garrett Irwin, and his great staff down the hallway, or go online and get in touch with them because once we get these tickets on sale, after we make this announcement, it's absolutely going to be our 12th straight opening night sellout. So we're looking forward to that very much. Later on in the show, once we have hopefully some guests, Lou DiBella hopefully will be able to say hi. And Kyle Haynes is going to come aboard, the director of player personnel for the San Francisco Giants. Again, you're live from Parney's Pub. I don't know how many of you have ever been to Parney's Pub, but you're right here in Parney's Pub for the next hour and 13 minutes. And then Gabe Kapler. Gabe Kapler's coming up at 7 o'clock. Gabe Kapler at 7 o'clock. We'll go with Cap through about 7:45 or 7:50. And then we have selected 6 questions from the winners. 6 from all the questions. 6 questions we've selected, and we'll ask Gabe those questions, and he'll answer them. All the winners will receive a authentic Gabe Kapler autographed baseball that we'll then send to you. And the questions came in fast and furious. We had some great questions. While I'm waiting for our guests to show up, I did have a question from our friend Dave Clellen, a longtime friend, longtime supporter of Flying Squirrels Charities. Dave was one of the biggest supporters when we did the 500 Bases of Love back during the COVID and the non-game season in 2020, when we touched 500 bases in one day and raised over $40,000 for COVID relief. Dave asked some questions. I'm just going to ask this one. I'm going to do this one. Actually, we'll do 2 real quick. One is the work stoppage. I don't know if we'll get to this, DC, with Gabe or not, but how long will it go? We don't know. They met again today, and I just read before I got on this show that they're going to not arbitration, but what's that called, Nick? They're going to a special counsel that can help them work it out. I think they're going to marriage counseling or something like that. I don't know. But the second question from DC is, how will this affect the start of the season? Folks, the work stoppage at MLB will have nothing to do with minor league baseball season. Unless there's another crazy COVID outbreak, the Squirrels are starting on April the 8th on the road and April the 12th at home. Repeat after me. Say it out loud in your house. Take a swig of Rally Cap or feeling squirrely wine and say it out loud. The Flying Squirrels home opener is April the 12th, and we're going to be there, okay? Flying Squirrels home opener is April the 12th, and we're going to be there. So the labor stoppage has nothing to do with minor league baseball, although except we want it not to go along because we want Major League Baseball to happen. And then I think Hannah just said that Lou DiBella is unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, not going to be able to join us. But I know that Lou would love to say hi to all y'all, and Lou would love to say that he loves Richmond, Virginia, and he loves Flying Squirrels fans very, very much. So please, if you get a chance to just give a shout out to Lou DiBella, join me to do that. Any updates with discussions? DC asking the hard questions here. Any updates on discussions with the new stadium? Well, my friend Ed McLaughlin is on this call, supporting Flying Squirrels Charities, as he always does. And as most of you probably know that live locally here in Richmond, December 27th, the city put out the request for information for developers to develop the 67-acre site right where we sit in Parney's Pub at the Diamond. Things are going well. We're looking forward to continuing. Major League Baseball has told us that we need to be making progress on a new stadium. We're still working with the city on making things better for the players and the fans here at the Diamond as well. So that front is going very, very well, and we're really excited about that and the fact that after all these years, 5 million fans coming here to the Diamond since the Squirrels went into existence, just under 5 million. We'll probably hit our 5 millionth fan, I would say, sometime in late April this season. So in the meantime, make sure you're going to squirrelsbaseball.com, squirrelsbaseball.com. Make sure you're checking out our schedule. Make sure you're looking at the groups. Here's one little tidbit, and this isn't a sales job. This is just the truth. our suites are selling really, really quickly, folks, for the 2022 season. So if your company, your church, whoever wants to have a suite during the 2022 season, make sure you call the office tomorrow on Friday and make sure you talk to somebody about it, because those suites are going really, really fast. So we're looking at about the 6:52. Kyle Haynes should be with us here shortly. We're just going to have a brief conversation with Kyle because we want to thank him publicly. Kyle Haynes was our 2017 manager of the Richmond Flying Squirrels, and Kyle Haynes, after that, became the director of player personnel for the San Francisco Giants minor league. I never really know what his title is, to be honest with you, but he's in charge of everything in the minor leagues. Not only is he someone who influences everything that happens in the minor leagues, we're going to ask Gabe Kapler, the manager of the San Francisco Giants, what that means, because Gabe Kapler was director of the minor leagues for the Los Angeles Dodgers before he went to Philadelphia. And we'll get into Philadelphia as well. It's going to be a very interactive. Gabe and I have emailed back and forth, very interactive, hopefully fun and enjoyable. We have a lot of coaches and hopefully even some players that are watching at home tonight. So, we're going to get down a little bit, hopefully, into some of the strategies and the way that Cap and the Giants amazingly won 107 games last year. Like, I don't mean this disrespectfully at all, but if you would have told me that the Giants were going to win 107 games in the 2021 season, I would have probably laughed at you. I just didn't think that it was going to happen, like a lot of people. But Gabe Kapler, the coaches that he assembled, a very diverse coaching staff, and the wonderful players, including many former Squirrels players, really did an amazing job and took it down to – I fell asleep because I'm old, but I missed the last pitch of the playoffs with the Giants and the Dodgers, where the controversial check swing. A lot of people ask questions about the automated strike zone. We don't know for a fact what rules yet are going to happen in the minor leagues. There's been a lot of rumors. I would anticipate, that's just my opinion, nothing for sure, my opinion, I think that the automated strike zone will be at some levels of the minor leagues. I don't think it's going to be here with the Squirrels. So again, we weren't able to have Lou DiBello on, but Lou's really busy working on a lot of things, including baseball. Follow Lou in all the things with DiBello Entertainment. Lou's going to go into the Boxing Hall of Fame finally this June. He was elected to go into the Boxing Hall of Fame. So we have a Boxing Hall of Famer amongst us, which is an amazing accomplishment. He didn't get to go in 2020 due to COVID. He didn't get to go into 2021 due to COVID. But we're hoping that June of 2022 is the magic moment for sweet Lou DiBella going into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Again, coming up hopefully in a couple of seconds, I hope, because I'm getting awful lonely here in Parney's Pub. I'm used to having more people around me, although I do have the great Hannah DeFrank to my left, the legendary Joe Tarnowski, and Nick Elder in the studio. That is Parney's Pub with us tonight. We're going to spend the next 65 minutes with you, including time with Gabe Kapler. And again, we're sorry that we couldn't get Lou DiBello on to say hello with you. All kinds of wonderful people out there that have paid money to support Flying Squirrels charities tonight, and we appreciate that. People from all over the country. And that's one of the things that's cool about, not cool, but one of the things that COVID has helped us learn. We normally have our hot stove event, so it's mostly just people from Richmond that come, right? But this has enabled us to kind of widen the horizon a little bit. And I was telling Hannah earlier today, maybe this is something that we do once a year. We're so fortunate and lucky to have Gabe Kapler join us. So I think that's amazing. That doesn't happen very often. And we're looking forward to that as well. So, I got to put on. Yep. Speaking of the devil, ladies and gentlemen, here he is.
What's going on?
Hey, Cap, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I can call you Cap, right? Can I call you Cap?
You better believe it. I'd love it if you call me Cap.
If you call me anything other than Parney, I'm going to think I did something wrong, okay? That's the only time anybody calls me by my real name. So, and look, we got Kyle Haynes and Gabe Kapler here, both of them together. Hainesy, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Parn, can you hear me?
I can. Cap just joined us. We're going to get going with him. But, Cap, if I may, before we get going, I just wanted to have Kyle Haynes on. Number one, so everybody in Richmond, Virginia can see him again because he's much beloved in Richmond, Virginia. Number two, so that we can say from the Richmond Flying Squirrels, Hainsey, thank you for putting this together. It's very, 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 very unique that the National League Manager of the Year is joining the AA minor league affiliate for 60 minutes for a fundraiser event for Flying Squirrels charities. And Hainsey, that would not have happened without you. So we just wanted to have you on for a minute or two and say thank you for that, bud.
Oh, no, thank you, Parney. Thanks for having us. And, it was an easy sell. All I had to do is say the word Parney and Cap was in. So he was excited. As soon as he heard your name, he said, I'm in. I don't know what it is, but I'm in. So
well, I would advise against that, Cap, from future things. But thank you for doing that very much, Hainsey. Before we go to Cap for the main show, for the big show, anything you want to say to Squirrels fans that are joining us tonight to raise money for Flying Squirrels charities?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I just can't thank you enough for my personal time in Richmond when I pop in, when I manage the Squirrels. But hopefully we can put together as exciting a group as we anticipate out on that field at the Diamond this year. Should be one of the best groups we've ever put together for the Squirrels. And definitely a deep roster. Strength's going to be pitching and defense on the field there. And, Eugene and San Jose, the two teams that were right below Richmond in the ladder of the minor leagues, won championships a year ago. We're definitely not going to declare that here, but at the same time, I think we have a championship caliber ball club we'll put on the field. And I personally would love nothing more than to see Richmond hosting up a championship trophy out there on the field at the Diamond this year. And we'll do the best we can to make sure that happens, and also develop players for Cap to do the same thing on the field at Oracle Park.
Well, thanks, Hainsey. And if we ever win a championship here in Richmond, I don't know what's going to happen in Parney's Pub after that happens. It might we might not have any bourbon left after it's all done here in Parney's Pub. So we'll see what happens. And Hainsey, thank you for joining us. Thank you for arranging this with Gabe Kapler tonight. We look forward to seeing you April the 12th. Hopefully you can make it out to Richmond to start the season with us. We're so appreciative, not only professionally, but you're part of our family. Make sure you have December 31st on your personal calendar. You got to be in Richmond for the big day.
Well, thanks for having me, Parn, and I'm excited to see everybody back at the Diamond and see the group there that I always see before batting practice and catch up. So thanks for having me. And now the fun part begins. Way more exciting guy than me, that's for sure. But
I disagree. I completely disagree. I've seen you speak publicly, Kyle. You keep everybody rolling and keep it light, and that's what makes listening to you talk feel so good.
I appreciate that, Cap.
Well, thanks again, Hainsey. Well, all right, let's go. We got Gabe Kapler here, the 2021 Manager of the Year in the National League. I have some notes, Cap. We're going to try to make this as interactive as possible. I'm not a script guy, but I really want to make sure.
Let's go off script.
You want to go off script already? Definitely. Omaha. Here we go. Omaha. All right, so you're born in Hollywood, California in 1975. You're a lot younger than me. Who was your favorite team growing up, your favorite player, and when did you start to figure out that baseball was it for you?
Well, Parney, first of all, I want to say I was born in Hollywood, California. That's true. But, literally just the hospital. I didn't spend any – sometimes you're like, oh, you're born in this place, you're born in that place. Everybody sort of imagines that that's where you grew up and you're born and raised. I was just born in a hospital in Hollywood. Other than that, Southern California guy. But interestingly, I grew up a Blue Jays fan. And I don't really – my teams were all over the map. I don't really have any rhyme or reason for why that is. I do know that I played on a Little League team, 5, 6 years old, with the old powder blue Toronto Blue Jays jerseys. Yeah. The bird right here in the middle of the chest.
Oh, yeah, I loved it. And Dave Steeb.
That crew, and then I fell in love with Fred McGriff. He was my favorite baseball player. I still think he should be in the Hall of Fame. And then, my teams were all over the map. The Philadelphia 76ers, the Philadelphia Flyers, the New York Jets. Those were the teams that I grew up watching. I fell in love with Charles Barkley. I had posters of Barkley on my wall.
Time out.
Yeah, okay, time out. Sorry, that's a little too much information.
No, Jets? Really? Jets
New
York
fan.
Jets.
Ken O'Brien, Mark Gastineau, Al Toon, Freeman McNeil, those mid-'80s Jets teams, and the green and white. When you're a kid, you don't really well, I mean, I guess a lot of people have it sort of baked into their DNA that if you grew up in San Francisco or New York, you like the Yankees, San Francisco, you like the Giants, whatever. Grew up in LA. I didn't like any of the hometown teams. I was all over the map, and I didn't have any rhyme or reason for it.
And your favorite player was Fred McGriff, who in 2018, I believe it was, threw out the first pitch for the Flying Squirrels home opener right here at the Diamond. And we had a little bit of fun, Cap,
That's super cool.
right here in Parney's Pub right after the game too. And that wasn't your year, was it, Hainsey? Was that your year?
No, we had David Justice my year.
We had David Justice. That's right.
Hey, Justice is a pretty good one too. Crime Dog is special for me, but Justice that's a good get.
Yeah, no, we've had Jerome Bettis, we've had David Justice, we've had Fred McGriff, we've had some of the VCU Final Four teams from back in players from 2011, and we're going to be announcing on Monday who's going to be here in 2022. Here's something else. I'm kind of off script, but not really off script totally yet. There's high school coaches on this. There's some guys from the Virginia Baseball Coaches Association. There's college players. There's parents that are watching this, Cap. I found it interesting. You never hit a home run in high school. You did in Legion Ball. You went to Cal State Fullerton. Then you transferred. How would you describe your high school age and college career? And here's the point for the coaches. What characteristics did you lean on before you eventually got drafted by the Detroit Tigers?
Yeah, that's really kind. The transfer word is really kind, which Cal State Fullerton and transferred. The actual story is that I was asked very politely to leave by the coaches. So but let's call it a transfer.
Wait, was it polite? Was it polite?
It was honest. Like, at the time it was Augie Garrido, legendary college coach, Rick Vanderhook, George Horton, like that crew.
Yeah.
And they're like, look, like, you're not ready emotionally for this program. You're not ready physically for this program. You should go play some junior college baseball because this isn't it for you. And I went to a junior college called Pierce in Los Angeles, California. Wasn't ready for that program either. And we played some fall ball. I was just immature, still hadn't quite figured out how to be a man and how to be like responsible for my business. It's just I was a child.
Right.
And then another junior college called Moore Park. I went out there with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. The college coach at the time, his name was Mario Porto. He was actually the assistant coach. Said, look, like if you're one of the better players on this team, you'll have a chance to play. And if you aren't, you won't. He put it to me just like that. And I think that moment was huge for me. It just drove me. I ended up paying more attention to my classes. I took a nutrition course at Moore Park College. It really changed how I thought about food, and I knew how to use it as fuel at that point. I started to train really hard, and I had my head on straight when I was finally 19 years old, and had a good season at Moore Park and was drafted by the Detroit Tigers in the 57th round. I think a lot of people on this call would advise me not to go sign, but to go back to school and play a little bit more. But I didn't want to do school anymore. It wasn't for me. Baseball was for me, and I was ready to make the commitment, and I did. The characteristics were, first, a ton of humility, right? I'd been, like, as you mentioned, never hit a home run in high school, was at least athletic enough and had good enough eye-hand coordination that some college recruiters were willing to give me a scholarship to a very good baseball school. But I was very immature. I was partying. I wasn't going to class. I was waking up late. And so I had to be humbled. I had to be shown that my baseball career was in jeopardy. I lost a scholarship, had to tell my mother and father that I was coming home from that school. Parney, at the end of the day, I had to become a little bit more humble, and I was extremely driven from that point on.
Light switch moment, right? I think
Huge.
I did it in my life too after my junior year in college. I mean, I was a terrible student, and all of a sudden I just figured out I had to get a job at some point. Off script for 1 second. 57th round of the draft, Caps. Today you wouldn't be drafted because there's not that many rounds. Curious as to your feelings on the draft having less rounds.
Well, quick little diversion, a little bit off script as well. I didn't even know I had been drafted. So I thought the draft had come and gone and that I was not drafted. And I was playing in a scout league game. And for those on the call who are not familiar with what those are, it's they're games organized by either bird dog or area scouts in your area.
Right.
Bring kids together and like keep an eye on them, right? So I'm playing in this scout league game, had a wooden bat in my hand, was playing well, hit a home run, came back in the dugout, and Dennis Lieberthal was the area scout for the Detroit Tigers, said, well, what are you going to sign? I don't know, what are you talking about? I didn't get drafted. He's like, no, we sent you some sort of memo that you're drafted in the 57th round. So nobody told me that I was drafted. So
you literally missed the memo. You literally missed the memo.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what would have happened if we didn't have that moment, but you know, I think the story suggests that I was lucky, A, and that B, I was kind of an afterthought. And I'm really glad that I didn't listen to the people who told me that I was going to be an afterthought in the Tigers system, because I really played well as a minor leaguer. Mm-hmm. And 3 years after getting drafted in the 57th round, I was the number one prospect in the Detroit Tigers organization. So that tells me that I want as many kids to get a shot at pro ball as possible, because some of these intangibles, some of these softer skills, they really matter.
And for those of you, parents of players, younger players, the players that are watching Cap tonight, the word that's coming into my head is believe. Like, you had to believe in yourself, right? And just keep going after it. You didn't play in the minor leagues that long, but as a minor league guy for 33 years, I love all the stories. Just for a minute or two, 2 or 3 of your favorite memories of the minors. It might be a roommate, Cap. It might be a city you played in, a manager you played for, or a coach that influenced you. And then adding on after that, well, answer that first, and then I'll come back to one more question about something else that happened.
All right. So I have a couple of memories. First, I'm so glad that I was introduced to a different part of the country in such a dramatic way, right? I love the buses. I loved, like, Fayetteville, North Carolina, my first full year in A-ball, traveling to all these cities in the South Atlantic League. Coming from Los Angeles, California, it was absolute culture shock. And I loved the fact that I was sitting on a bus for 10 hours and the dude next to me was like trying to figure out a way to go to the bathroom without getting up and going to the bathroom on the bus. And these guys were fairly creative at the time with bottles and things like that. But I just loved the rawness, the toughness, and the fact that I got to see so much of the United States in minor league baseball, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. So I think it's, rather than it's just one story, it's a collection of life experiences and cities that I got to see. I remember being absolutely blown away by Mobile, Alabama. I thought it was the most beautiful city that I had been to. The trees were incredible, big and like droopy and like romantic. It was super, super cool. I loved seeing the train tracks that seemed to go on forever, from the highways, from the buses. So I really did love the minor leagues. And yeah, I'm glad that I had that experience overall.
When you were in Fayetteville, you probably came to Kannapolis, North Carolina to play. Did you ever play in Kannapolis? Do you remember?
Kannapolis was not a team, okay. Yeah, 1996. But I do believe that when I managed in the South Atlantic League in 2007, before coming back to play, I managed for the Greenville Drive for one season.
Right, you did.
And I believe Kannapolis was in that league at that point.
So in 1996, if that was the year you were in that league, you did play at Kannapolis. We were called the Piedmont Boll Weevils, was the name of the team. And I was the general manager. I was the general manager of that team. And our slogan was, "We're unboll weavable." So all you people out there that thought the Flying Squirrels name was weird, I was a GM of a team called the Piedmont Boll Weevils. So take that. Cap, I mentioned the 0 home runs. I'm going to bring it up again. I'm sorry. You went 0 home runs in high school. You hit 10 home runs in your first 64 games in the big leagues. At that time, it was the fastest any Tiger had ever done that. For the coaches and the players that are listening or watching tonight, how did that happen?
It's actually, that's easy for me to explain. So the one thing I should share is I hit a lot of home runs in the minor leagues. So I didn't go from like hitting no home runs in high school baseball because I had 0 pop to then all of a sudden having a lot of pop at the major league level. In between was a lot of homers in the minor leagues. And what happened was quite simple. If you had watched me hit as a 16-year-old high school kid, you would see me square the baseball up quite a bit. I had a decent path to the ball. I stayed in the zone quite a long time. And I had good eye-hand coordination, so I could square the baseball up. I just wasn't able to beat the outfielders. So I would hit the ball as hard as I possibly could, and you'd see a center fielder glide under it, camp under it, and it would be an out. And when I got to Moore Park College, as I mentioned, I took a nutrition course, A, and B, I really started to get after my training, and not just like the upper body, pretty muscle stuff, my legs. And I still to this day have the skinniest legs, but they're strong. And the strength came from a lot of squats, a lot of deadlifts, a lot of compound lifts, overhead press, Olympic style lifting. And that gave me the base that I needed to start driving the baseball. So my swing stayed the same. My eye-hand coordination stayed the same. I was just stronger. And so that strength allowed some of those balls that I was hitting to the warning track to go out of the ballpark in the minor leagues. And then I don't think I had as much power as I did in, my first 2 minor league seasons. I think that was the strongest that I've ever been. And then I naturally started to lose strength as I got into my mid-20s, and then a lot less strength in my late 20s.
During the season as a player, and you're well known for your fitness and your nutrition, as am I, may I add. But although I'm on the John Daly fitness routine instead of the Gabe Kapler fitness routine. But Cap, did you change your workout methods when you were playing during the season? Like some players, I've noticed even our guys, they work out at different times a day. Like what was your routine? I'm just curious during the season, let's say a game day. Did you work out in the morning or did you work out after the game? How'd you do it?
In the minor leagues, I did it in the morning because we didn't really have facilities to work out after the game. And I think that's what was best for me. So we would go on the road to whatever city. I would find a place to train. It wasn't with any strength coaches. I would just get up, go have a big breakfast, and then go train at like a local gym wherever we were. Right. And then I would come home and I would sleep until it was time to go to the ballpark. That was a really good method to be strong for the season. But once I got to the big leagues, it was more like team issued, and we did a lot of strength training at the ballpark, both before and after the games. And look, I just think at the major league level, I wore myself down. I trained too much, and if I could do it all over again, I would have focused much more on mobility and flexibility exercises and a lot less on just trying to be as strong as I could, which is where I put all of my attention as a player.
Now, as a manager off script, as a manager now, do you keep an eye on that? Or you have strength coaches, I know, and some of them have been here with the Squirrels and now in San Francisco with you. But do you keep an eye out for that? If you feel like somebody's working out too hard, do you give them a day off or something like that?
Well, it's an area that I'm still passionate about. So I love to watch. And I love to, if a player wants to talk to me and come into my office and we want to bounce experiences off of each other, I'm all for it. But I really believe that when you hire good, knowledgeable, prepared, diligent people, you let them do their work. So we have great strength coaches. They're there to get our players stronger and faster and keep them on the field. We have great hitting coaches. I don't feel any need I feel like I have a good understanding of the swing, and I feel like I have a really good ability to reach players. But we have a lot of coaches, and they have those things covered. So I just want to be a support system to those coaches. And every once in a while, if a player wants to strike up a conversation about something specific, like weight training, or like their swing, I'm all ears.
We have a bunch of Red Sox fans on this call. I know we do. I wanted to hit on a couple of things. 2004, you were part of the team that broke the curse. Anything in particular about the 2004 season? And I emailed you that I sent a stop sign to my buddy Del Swaim, who was your third base coach. You can actually see it over in the corner behind the bar. There is the actual stop sign that I sent to Swaymer because he was getting you guys blown up at home plate early in the season in 2004. Anything, a couple points about the Boston Red Sox experience as a whole, but in particular being part of the team that won the World Championship in 2004?
Yeah, it was one of the tightest groups that I've ever been around. It was a team that as very well documented, fought together on the field physically. As very well documented that we got together off the field and had some fun. And it was really well documented that we cared deeply about each other and that we pulled for each other. We told each other, we opened up to each other. We made ourselves vulnerable to one another. And I think like all of those little things that are unrelated to swings and deliveries and weight training, but the things that are just a little bit more human that make relationships strong, those are the areas that I think that team thrived the most. We all really cared for each other and respected each other.
You stay in touch with any of the guys from that team?
Yeah, occasionally. Kevin Millar and I had a lot of fun together on the field, and
I've spent a couple nights with 1-5 at the winter meetings, but I don't really know how it ended up, to be honest with you.
It doesn't surprise me at all knowing Kevin. But every once in a while, some text messages will get exchanged. Keith Folk and Tim Wakefield, and and there's the Red Sox years that I were that was 03 to 06, and then I managed that team in 07. So there's a lot of players that kind of fall into that category for me. Red Sox teammates. Ellis Burks is one of them. He now works for the Giants. I love Ellis and see him from time to time. So yeah, still it'll always be a family.
And actually playing at Fenway, and I think this is one of the questions we'll get to in the fan section, but I was at the World Series in 2004 as a guest at Dale Swaim, the game 2, I believe it was, and I've never been to anything like it my entire life. And just the walking out of the ballpark and the fans, is that the most special place or one of the most special places you played, or was it just because of the years you were there and the transformational things y'all were doing as teammates made it even more special?
No, Fenway Park is a palace in my mind. It's the most incredible, interesting, historical ballpark. It means a lot to me personally. And everybody that came through Boston that was a friend of mine or a family member of mine, I couldn't wait to get them out on the field, in the dugout, in the clubhouse, in the Green Monster, in the stands. It was like a kid showing off like the coolest toy ever. This Fenway Park is special. I mean, the people on this call that are Red Sox fans and that have been, in that ballpark for the biggest moments over the course of the last 25 years know that it's pure magic.
You mentioned Greenville a couple of times now. You went to manage in Greenville in 2007. They're great people down there, by the way. Great ballpark, overall great situation. And then you went back to playing in 2008. One of the few times I think anybody's ever done that. Why'd you do that, Cap?
So when I think it's important for me to tell the story about why I retired in the first place.
Okay.
So in 2005, I was a productive player, and I was coming around second base on a ball that Tony Graffinino hit at the Sky Dome in Toronto, Rogers Center, whatever it is now.
Right.
And I was running really hard, thinking I was going to have to score on a double. And right as the ball cleared the fence for a home run, I'm rounding second base, and I felt my Achilles tendon pop. Oh. Real hard pop. Felt like I got hit in the back of the ankle with a baseball bat. Went down, had to have a pinch runner come in and complete my trot. I wasn't able to complete the trot. So at the end of that season, I had a decision to make. Was I going to try to come back from this injury, and was I going to be able to do it? The answer turned out to be yes. I gave it everything I had, and I worked my ass off to come back in 2006. And I was able to get back to the field by the middle of the summer in 2006. But I wasn't any good. I didn't have any first step quickness. I wasn't good at the plate. My body didn't really work the way I wanted it to work. And I got the end of the 2006 season, and Ben Sherrington, who is now the president of baseball operations for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Mike Hazen and Theo Epstein, they sat me down and they said, "Hey, like, would you want to manage?" And I think their vision was I'd have an opportunity to grow very quickly in their system. And I took advantage of the opportunity. What I didn't realize is that I still had more baseball left in me. Mm-hmm. And by the end of that 2007 season, as the manager of the Greenville Drive, I loved every minute of that experience, but my body started to feel better. And I didn't know it was going to start to feel better. But that whole year off really made me feel stronger. So I ended up signing with the Brewers, a non-guaranteed major league contract in 2008. 2008 was one of my best years. I was hungry. My body was working well. 2009, another great year. I was able to acquire 3 more years of service time and be on playoff teams. So that was really cool. Playoffs in 2010 with the Rays, playoffs in 2008, although I was hurt at the end of the season with the Brewers.
I mean, one thing I'm learning about you, just as we're sitting here talking, is you never quit on anything. You keep coming back and you keep believing, you keep working. You mentioned the Rays. We're joined by Lou DiBella now, the managing partner of the Richmond Flying Squirrels. And Lou, I just want you to say hello. If you can, thank Gabe and Kyle Haynes for putting this together. Lou is, as I mentioned before, going into the Boxing Hall of Fame this year. Has had an amazing career in the boxing profession. And obviously has been a minor league baseball.
I don't know that that's anything to be proud of, guys, by the way. Rubbing elbows with Don King and Bob Arum all the time. Gabe, thank you. I've been listening in. I mean, I'm like really technologically impaired. So trying to get on as a panelist at 6:25, I wound up wrecking my whole account and having to re-register to Zoom. So I spent most of the last hour, I've been listening, but spent most of the last hour trying to get in here. Thank you. Last year was unbelievable, man. I mean, it was really great. And you guys did a great job. Kyle, good to see you, bro. And thank you for being here. Thank the fans. Appreciate it. I've been involved with minor league baseball for 18 years now, and we've never been affiliated with anybody. Going back to our days in Connecticut, but the Giants. And I'm a Giants guy, and I'm really grateful for everything you've done. And I'm looking forward to this season. And thanks for being here for our fans and doing this, because this has been really interesting. Parney, listening to you, you should have a talk show. You're good at this. And thanks, guys. Thank you, Gabe, for being here. And I look forward to meeting in person and having a beer one of these days.
I would love that. And if it makes you feel any better, I'm on my 3rd device to get on this link. So I went my laptop, then my iPad, and now I'm on my phone. So I get it.
Yeah, well, I also vented at half of my staff and everything else. So everyone I just yelled at, I apologize. And I'll try to be more technologically proficient in the future. But thank you for being here, Gabe, and Kyle. Thanks as always. For being a great guy.
Thank you, sweet Lou. I appreciate you being here with us. Thanks for hopping in and saying hi to the fans. I know how much you love all the fans here in Richmond, Virginia. Successful playing career into the Cap. You became the Dodgers Director of Player Development. How did that position ready you for the success that you've had now? And Kyle Haynes is still on the Zoom. Does that kind of help you understand what Haynesy's going through on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good place to start. Like, I always have a big soft spot in my heart for what Kyle has to go through. And we talked about it a little bit earlier today. Like, the farm director is the central figure in the organization, and if you drew it up on a big whiteboard, you'd have all of these departments sort of circling around PD, and the farm director is taking calls from everybody. It's the kid. It's the player who in the middle of the night is having some sort of issue. It's
right. Somebody
at one of the affiliates. It's a director level employee. It's one of the coaches. It's the president of baseball ops. You're always on call.
Agents, right? Agents.
That's great. So one of the things that prepared me for my role as farm director was I started a small company with many other people, not by myself, called eGraphs. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with this company, but are familiar with the company called Cameo, it was like that. It was a way for players and celebrities to connect with fans using technology. We tried and we failed. But along the way, I got to know a lot of the agents that I ended up dealing with as a farm director and subsequently sometimes even as a manager now. But I have the most respect for that position. It is such a critical position in an organization. It really makes it go.
Well, I've been around minor league baseball 33 years. I've never seen a farm director that wasn't attached to their phone 24 hours a day, taking phone calls from absolutely everybody. And I'm telling you, Cap, sometimes when Hainsey's here, I feel like he comes into Parney's pub and shuts the door and acts like he's going to yell at me or something just so he gets 30 minutes of peace and quiet. You know what I mean? It's
I
always happening.
completely know what you mean.
Well, I'm going to go take a little break from this particular piece of paper.
Yep.
We have a celebrity that's on this as well. He's now a baseball coach in Emporia, Virginia. His name is Elliott Sadler, if you ever followed NASCAR, Cap. A terrific driver. Drove the M&M car, which obviously with my size, I enjoyed the M&M car. But Elliott's involved in an organization now called Top Hand Foundation, and they have travel teams and baseball teams and
Cool.
just a wonderful guy. He retired from NASCAR to coach his kids. He asked this question earlier this week, and I thought it would be a good question to ask you. What is a good priority list for teams to look for in young players coming along? Is it attitude, mental game, foot speed, arm strength, position specific, hitting? What, in your opinion, Cap, takes priority on the things mentioned here by Elliott Sadler, a guy who's coaching a lot of really good young players in Emporia, Virginia now?
Yeah. So this is not going to be the most exciting answer in the world, but I would definitely say it's the most honest answer. When we're talking about youth baseball, there are, and I imagine that's what we're talking about. So
yes, we are.
Kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what matters is coaching the human, coaching the person. And how can we make that boy or girl a more well-rounded person? What tools can we give them to be a more well-rounded person? How can we influence them to have a better time on the baseball field so they're enjoying it more, so they decide to practice their skills more diligently because they're loving it and they're passionate about it? The truth of the matter is that a lot of those players, those young youth players, are not going to play at the next level, and the chances of them playing college baseball are slim. Chances of them being a professional baseball, slimmer, and Major League Baseball, where they're really making a career out of it, almost nil. So encourage them to go after their dreams full force with everything they've got, but really focus in on loving on them, supporting them, helping them become good people, because at the end of the day, they're not going to be major leaguers. And I think that's how we want to lead is through the example of enjoy your youth playing sports.
Do you believe in multi-sport athletes or
Yeah, definitely.
Did you play other sports than baseball?
So I specialized. And once I got to high school in Southern California, the advice that I was getting at the time was to really specialize on baseball. My feeling is, but I loved other sports. So I played pickup basketball all the way through my minor league career. And that was really helpful. Stop go quickness and agility, and yeah, exactly.
You dropped some trays.
I tried. I loved it. And I played, pickup flag football when I was in high school. We played pickup tackle football. So I think that the best way to train for one sport is to play another.
Yeah, and I believe it or not, I don't look like it right now, but I played 3 sports in high school, and I felt like you have friends during the fall, friends during the winter, friends during the spring, and it just opens you up to so many other people.
Love it, Parney.
Talk about last year. When did you really feel like, when did you look in the mirror and say, we got something special going on here?
I think in spring training. And the thing that stood out to me was, Buster Posey, Evan Longoria, Brandon Bell, Brandon Crawford, all getting together and saying things like, and we were listening, the coaches were listening and ready to support, we're not going to be comfortable just sneaking into the postseason. That's not the goal. The goal is to win the National League West. And so when we heard those players make those declarations, we had no choice but to support their vision. To be very clear, this is not, the coaching staff, the front office is at the point at which the season begins, is there to support, sometimes guide the players. And the players were saying that we think this is special, and therefore we surrounded them with all the support we could to reach that vision.
You mentioned the coaches. This isn't on the list that I sent you, but your coaching staff that you assembled, very diverse. Obviously, Alyssa has the role or became the first female coach in the big leagues. When you were putting your staff together, had you been thinking about that for a long time? And not just her in particular, but how did that staff come together?
Well, we have a strong belief that a diverse staff, and we feel pretty good about the direction we're heading. One of the more diverse staffs in the big leagues, if not the most diverse staff in
I
the
think
big
it's
league.
probably the.
Well, just to kind of go down the list, we have a Japanese coach. We have a
Right.
black man from the Bahamas as our first base coach. We have a woman on our coaching staff. One of our most influential analysts in the clubhouse is a Venezuelan woman. We've got a Dominican native Spanish speaking hitting coach in the dugout. We have a Puerto Rican quality assurance coach. And we just have what I believe to be a coach for every player in the clubhouse from a relatability standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that a Japanese player needs a Japanese coach. But what it does mean is that if we have a Japanese player at some point, they will speak to somebody on our staff in their native language.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that, a white player needs a white coach. Sometimes that player needs to hear from somebody with an entirely different set of experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So from a diversity and equity and inclusion standpoint, we aren't trying to check boxes. We're trying to have the best, most impactful, most influential coaching staff that we can possibly have. And we believe that that will become an example for other sports because we think it actually makes for a winning environment. And then ultimately, because society looks to sport as sort of a model, and if you think about corporations around the country, sports teams are their celebrities, their tastemakers, their influencers. So we're making those sort of changes. We're showing proof of concept. Then we think other teams and organizations and corporations will follow and make for a more diverse workplace in society and a more diverse world, to be frank. And so we're trying to hit that from every angle whenever possible.
Paul, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Gabe, we're in the world in general in sports, not just in baseball, of analytics and sabermetrics and all this other stuff. When you're in the dugout and you're in a game, how often does gut instinct and stuff you just vibe or feel from your team, how often do you diverge from those analytics? And when you do you feel any pressure? Like, I'm taking a chance here. How much of it is instinct and gut, and how much of it is statistics?
Much more. I don't know if I'd call it instinct, but much more reading the game than reading like a page of numbers than it's ever been for me. I take you back to my first year in Philly. I was very on spreadsheets and very on making decisions based on what I thought would be the strongest math play. Now, after several years of experience, I realize and continue to realize what a human game we're playing. And so everything that's happening in the dugout, facial expressions, body language, the fatigue that we're seeing, maybe we have some information that isn't reflected in our analytical information. That's how I think we're making decisions. A blend, but a little bit more with the feel of the game over the last couple of years than in the previous years, for me personally. Now, what I'll say is that every bit of information is just analytics. Analytics is kind of a word that intimidates people. And I think oftentimes it's viewed as analytics or scouting by way of example. When a scout grades a player on a 20 to 80 scale and says, this guy is a 60 hitter, he's got a 60 hit tool, and that goes on a spreadsheet, that's analytics. It's information. And that is that scout's perspective. So there is a really nice harmony between traditional and progressive baseball, and a really nice harmony between gut instinct and reading the game with using statistical information to make decisions. And we're always trying to strike that balance.
And I smiled when you said feel, because I don't know how many times in my 30-plus year career I've said, oh, that person has feel or that person doesn't have feel. And the one thing I tell a lot of our young staffers, body language is so important. Even if you're on a phone call, people can tell your body language, and when you're trying to sell people tickets or sponsorships. So we're on the same page. Can you specifically talk about some of the Giants players that have played in Richmond? Because there's a lot of Richmond Flying Squirrels fans here tonight. Crawford, Belt, one of my all-time favorites, and I know you love him too, Webby, who I just think is just a total gamer in life. Austin Slater came through here and is going on to have a great big league career. And then somebody asked a question about it that'll be in the 6 questions, but we love Joey Bart. To me, you talk about somebody who looks like he has it. Earlier in my career, I had Scott Rowland as a 19-year-old in Reading, Pennsylvania. Somebody said, what's he like? I go, he's got it. And I think Joey Bart's the same way. Would you mind touching on a few of those players?
Yeah, sure. Do you have any particular place you want me to start? Or you just want me to start riffing on each of them?
Just you be you, Cap. You be you.
All right,
it's
cool.
all good.
Well, let's start with Webby because I can picture his smile right now. And there's nothing like a Webby smile.
Here it is.
Yeah. Exactly. There's nothing like seeing his genuine smile on the mound after something good happens.
Yep.
His energy is so contagious in the dugout. Look, his pitch mix is so well documented, right? He's got a fastball that moves as much as a sinker that moves as much as anybody's in the game. His sliders really started to gain both like sharpness and depth. The changeup is an excellent pitch. He used the slider, I think, more effectively last year than his changeup, but his changeup is still a really important weapon for him. And we saw him in spring training last year use his changeup a ton and just wipe out some of the best hitters in the Cactus League. So he was able to stay in his delivery more. He did a really nice job of keeping his body in good physical condition so that he was as strong as he could be at the end. Game 5 of the NLDS was, you couldn't have drawn it up any better for awesome. a Webby start. He's a breath of fresh air. We love him, and we think he's going to have an even better season if that's possible in 22.
Agreed.
You want me to go down the list, or is that enough? We can probably finish the call with talking about these players.
We got to talk about my guy Brandon Crawford.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to 2020. I came into the organization along with a lot of other people, and I had a real critical eye on our players. I mean, I'm always going to have a critical eye on our players, but in particular, my job is to challenge our players. And I think Brandon Crawford was coming off of 2019 that he will readily admit was not his best year. What I think makes Brandon stand out is he always believes that he has a better year in him. So he got to work. He got to work on his swing. He was open to making changes defensively, even though he was already one of the better defensive shortstops around baseball for many years. And I think over the last couple of years, he has been one of the top 3 shortstops in the league. Beyond that, he gained a high level of respect from me and the coaches. And then also, so he already had the respect of so many players, but wow. I mean, he blew everybody away with his openness, with his work ethic, with his drive, with his determination. And to have a resurgence like he had last year, it's really it doesn't happen all that often, and it's a testament to his character and drive.
And he's got some of the best hair the baseball has ever seen.
Money.
I think just absolutely unbelievable. And
Money.
I would say you used the word humility earlier when you talked about yourself and some things that humbled you, and the humility that not only you crawl, his birthday was not too long ago, right? And one of the great things that has happened to me throughout my career is just staying in touch with these guys, right? He played here in 2010. I wished him a happy birthday, and he responded within 15 seconds. How's your family? How's this? How's that? I mean, just an amazing person. And I think your whole clubhouse is full of guys just like that. Cap, we're going to need to get to the questions in a second so we don't overuse our time here. But before we do, I want to ask you to talk to us about Pipeline for Change. You mentioned your staff and the diversity and equality, and obviously you've all throughout your life have spoken what you believed in. Tell our people who are here for Flying Squirrels Charities tonight to raise money for Flying Squirrels Charities about Pipeline for Change and what you're trying to accomplish with your foundation.
Pipeline for Change exists to put people of color, women, marginalized groups into positions of decision-making in sports, across sports, and in society. We believe at Pipeline that a more diverse group of decision makers makes for a better decision-making process and makes for better, healthier organizations. And we believe that representation matters. So that is our main focus. We educate and we give grants, and we are going to continue this mission going forward.
And if people on this Zoom want to find out more about the foundation, Cap, how do they do that?
Best way is to follow us on social. Pipeline for Change is on Instagram. Pipeline for Change is on Twitter. If you want to go to our website, it's pipelineforchangefoundation.com.
Pipelineforchangefoundation.com. Pipelinefoundationforchange.com. Okay, we have 6 questions. We're going to finish up. Joe T, how are we doing with time? Joe T is our timekeeper. He's doing an excellent job, although there is a bottle of bourbon next to him as he's doing this, so I'm not really sure what's going on over there. But we have 6 questions, and the people that ask the questions are going to receive an official autographed baseball signed by our guest of honor tonight, Gabe Kapler. We'll be shipping those out on Monday. So the 6 people that we're going to ask the questions for right now, you're going to be receiving an awesome signed baseball from Gabe Kapler. And Cap, thanks for doing that. Question number 1, thoughts on Buster Posey retiring and how to fill the void of such a Hall of Fame player? That question is from Jared.
Yeah. So Jared, thanks for that question. Quick thoughts on Buster retiring. It's hard, right? Really happy for Buster and his family, really happy for the career that he had, but there's no discounting the fact that for the San Francisco Giants, it's impossible to fill those shoes. And the way that we're going to try to sort of fill that is certainly not try to find a catcher like Buster Posey or try to find a clubhouse leader like Buster Posey. The way we'll be successful in transitioning is by finding the value at the margins at all the other positions from all the other players, and thinking about it like, how do we raise the bar at every position? How do we raise the bar in our practice sessions? How do we raise the bar in our preparation so that we feel this loss a little bit less? Because it's going to hurt no matter what. But there's just no replacing a legendary Hall of Fame caliber human being and player. There's no way to do it.
Never heard one person, Cap, say one negative thing about Buster Posey. Ever. All right, well, thank you, Jared. You'll be receiving a baseball signed by Gabe Kapler, be mailed out on Monday. Second question, how did having the strong veteran presence, Posey, Crawford, Belt, help this team stay focused? This is from Steve. I think you kind of answered that earlier when you said in spring training the players got together and kind of said, we're not going to sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah, Steve, good question. My thought is the way the veteran players were most impactful was their openness. When we came over in 2020, we had a lot of new ways to practice for the game that our players hadn't seen before, especially the veteran players, Belt, Craw, Longo,
right,
others, Posey. But they were open. They opened their doors to us. They made it easy for us to implement new strategies and new coaching. They said yes to everything we wanted to try. And without that buy-in, I don't think 2021 happens. So it really is a testament to their willingness to try new things and to be open to the coaching staff. Now, at the end of the day, independent of the coaches, these players are just incredibly talented. They're just incredibly talented. The reason we won 107 games in 2021 is because these guys kicked ass. And so, and in particular, these veteran players had some of the best years of their careers.
100%. Question number 3. This is from Christopher Yu. Christopher asks, how have you found success in San Francisco versus your time in Philadelphia. And Cap, my dad, Ray Parnell, is watching tonight. He's a big Phillies fan, so I'm interested in this answer.
Yeah. Well, I think I mentioned one of the ways that I've made some adjustments from Philly to San Francisco.
Correct.
What I'll say is that San Francisco fits me pretty well. I'd actually say this has nothing to do with Philadelphia and just a lot of San Francisco. Look, I'm not like Charlie Manuel, probably not a whole lot like a lot of a guy like
oh shucks.
Right. It's just not necessarily my style. So despite the fact, and I'm not like Boch either. Boch, just like Posey, you can't replace a legendary Hall of Fame caliber manager by trying to be like that person. So I had to be me. I have to be me. And I think I was embraced in a major way by the city of San Francisco and by the fans. And yeah, no, I would say that's one thing that was really helpful in San Francisco. But I really enjoyed the work that we did in Philadelphia. I think we made a lot of progress in 2 years. In 2018, we had a really good year in Philly relative to 2017. So a lot of good things were accomplished. A lot of foundation was laid, and it didn't end the way any of us envisioned. But really glad to be in San Francisco now.
I'm still to this day very good friends with Larry Anderson, who was in the broadcast booth when you were there. I have a picture of him on my wall over here, and still a lot of friends in the Phillies organization from my time in Reading, 1990 to almost 2000. I was with the Phillies organization. So thank you for answering that question. And Christopher, you'll be receiving a baseball. Jenna says, last year was such a fantastic season. What are you looking forward to this year?
Yeah, I'm just excited to build on the foundation, right? So one of the cool things about having a great season like we had last year is expectations are going to be high.
Mm-hmm.
Inevitably, expectations are going to be high. And one of the fun things about 2021 was nobody was expecting to go on that ride. So it's like a roller coaster that you didn't even know you were on. And that's what made it so much fun. This time, the expectations are going to be higher. People are going to be expecting a ride. And so one of the things I'm most excited about is the challenge of that. Mm-hmm. The bar being raised a little bit and needing our staff to work a little bit harder and our players to be really good so we can step up and meet that bar.
Great answer. Excluding San Francisco and your hometown, of all the locations you've lived in, which is your favorite and why? This is from Lori.
Outside of San Francisco
and your hometown.
Outside and my hometown. So no LA, which is my favorite city to live in and why. So I really loved living in Honolulu. that should surprise nobody. So I got to spend 2 winter seasons in Honolulu on Oahu. And I played in the winter league there in 96 and 97.
Okay.
And so at the time, one year we played in Waipahu, which was like in the middle of the cane fields. And then the next year we played at the University of Hawaii at Honolulu Stadium. I think it's called Honolulu Stadium. And we traveled around to the various islands, played on the Big Island and played Hilo, went to Maui and played, I think it was the Maui Stingrays at the time. But my home base for several months was Honolulu. And one year I lived at the Waikiki Beach Hotel and I rode a scooter everywhere I went. And
that's awesome.
Like we wake up and, wear shorts and flip flops and get on scooters and ride to the ballpark. That was a really fun time in my life. And I loved Hawaii.
Did you ever meet Don Ho or Thomas Magnum when you were over there? Or were they still hanging out or not?
Maybe they were, but I don't know that I ever got off my scooter long enough to find them.
I was just telling somebody the other day, Hawaii is like the one place I've never been in my lifetime. So maybe I'll have to go there. Obviously tonight we talked a lot about, your beliefs and the things that you work on. We talked a little bit about your foundation. This question is from James, and James asked, as a manager of the Giants and the Giants organization, what is your level of appreciation for what the minor league affiliates' commitment to their towns are, not just the Squirrels, but, you know, in Sacramento and in San Jose and Eugene, as far as being 365-day members of our community, which is honestly why we're here tonight, raising money for Flying Squirrels charities to benefit people in our community 365 days a year. James, just wanted to know how you felt about that.
I mean, I think it's remarkable, and I think I demonstrated how much I love minor league baseball. That's in part because of the people I met along the way in the various minor league towns I played in, and then being in Kyle's position and you know, getting to know our affiliates when I was over with that other club. But
yeah, are you not allowed to? Are you not allowed to say that anymore? You can't even say. I love it, man. That's great.
But what I'll say, like, some of my best memories were with the booster families in places like Jacksonville, Florida, and Fayetteville, North Carolina, and, you know, Lakeland, Florida, and how good those affiliates were in not just with the players, but in their communities, and how much of an impact they made, not just by providing excellent entertainment, but also by investing in their communities like the Flying Squirrels are.
Well, we have a saying around here, we're not in the baseball business. We're not in the entertainment business. We're in the memory making business. And you certainly have helped us tonight make a wonderful memory with the manager of the San Francisco Giants. We just got a few minutes left before we have to go. One of the things I wanted, those are our 6 questions. Congratulations to our 6 winners. Just a quick little round of questions for you. Favorite teammate ever? Favorite teammate ever?
Ooh, that's such a challenge. That's tough. I don't think I could pick one, but I could rattle off a bunch.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
Yeah. Trotton Nixon was excellent. Tony Clark, Damian Easley, Jason Varitek, Ellis Burks, Mike Cameron, Craig Counsell was an excellent teammate. Carlos Pena was awesome. Alyssa Nakin is now a tremendous teammate. But to be honest with you, like, this doesn't do service to Kyle Haynes on this call. Excellent, excellent, elite 80 level teammate.
Right.
Parney, I think you're a great teammate, and it doesn't take long to get to know you, where you're just here to support. You're here to make other people better. So, you know, teammate behavior isn't just about baseball; it's about life.
100%. And I think being a manager of a major league team is about leadership, and I think we've learned so many leadership qualities tonight. Just a couple more real quick. Favorite stadium to play in as a player? Favorite stadium to play in as a player?
I'm gonna pick one. I'm gonna pick one old and one new.
Okay.
So the old one would be Fenway, and the new one would be Safeco. Is it still Safeco in Seattle? I don't know. Like, the corporations are always like changing in terms of naming and stuff like that.
I don't know, but that city in Seattle is one of the coolest places I've ever been. That fish market is crazy. Really fun. I think it is Safeco now. All right, last one. Favorite manager or coach that you ever played for, and somebody that might, like, somebody asks me all the time, who influenced you as a minor league executive, and the answer is like 15 people, right? It's like a melting pot of a bunch of people. So your favorite manager or coach that you played for, and then we'll finish it off with your circle of influence as a manager.
Okay, again, this is like the teammate question. There's so many people that have influenced me that have been managers.
We have like 3 minutes.
Okay, cool. Joe Madden was very influential for me. One of the reasons he was influential is when I did become a manager, he said, "Don't try to be anybody but you. Don't try to be. You're not like another manager, so don't try to be like one." That was really good advice. And Joe has sort of worn that on his sleeve. Terry Francona was an excellent manager for me. Very even-keeled, never got too high or too low. When I stepped into an elevator and I was 0 for 14 and he was on the elevator, he had a warm kind of arm around your shoulder way of dealing with you, made you feel right at home. Dwight Lowry was my manager in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He has since passed away. Very influential. Matt Martin was one of my hitting coaches, who later became an infield coach and an infield coordinator. Matt was influential. The most important figure as an influence in my career my mother and father, without question, way more important than any manager or any coach. Both of them kind of were the models for how I lead and how I interact with people.
It's about family, right? And I think it's about family in minor league baseball. It's about family in life, and it's been a really awesome time. Joe T's telling me we're out of time. Cap, any closing moments, any closing thoughts you'd like to have for the people that have joined us to raise money and awareness for Flying Squirrels charities tonight?
Just a lot of gratitude for everybody that took part in tonight, and thank you to you, Parney, and your entire organization for pouring into the community and making people around you better, and by lifting your community up. So just a lot of gratitude for everyone here.
Well, we have
and
a lot of
Kyle, thanks for allowing me to be a part of this. I really enjoyed it.
I think we lost Kyle. I think Kyle went to work. He probably had he probably had an agent calling him trying to get somebody signed before spring training, most likely. But
I don't blame him.
It was great. We have a lot of gratitude for you, Cap, and we have a little gift headed your way that'll be at the complex in Scottsdale next week, and you have to text me and let me know if you like it or not. But thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. Lou DeBella is here with us. Thank you for joining us, Lou. We're going to sign off now. Follow us on squirrelsbaseball.com, all our social media. Make sure that you follow Cap's Foundation, Pipeline for Change. Looking forward to seeing y'all all throughout the rest of the winter months. We don't call it an off season because there is no such thing as off season in baseball. So Cap, thanks again. Lou, thanks again. Everybody out there in Zoom land, thank you for having us.
Cap.
Thanks, everyone.
And as we always say in Richmond, have fun, go nuts.